Commander Elias Ward stood at the wide window of the human capital ship, Resolute Dawn, watching stars drift like slow fireflies across the darkness. He had been in battles, negotiations, and dangerous missions before, but nothing felt as strange as what had just happened a few hours ago. He was now married to an alien girl, married to someone the human government still called the enemy only a year ago. And worst of all, people whispered she was ugly. He did not like that word. It felt cruel. But most humans had seen only propaganda images of the Threx species, exaggerated pictures showing twisted features, glowing scars, and strange armor. The war had taught people to fear anything that looked different. Now Elias had to walk back onto his ship with Kalira, the first Threx to ever be allowed inside a human vessel without chains or guards. And she was his bride. The political marriage was meant to seal peace between humanity and the Threx dominion. But Elias knew the truth. It was simply a desperate move from both sides to stop another war. He took a long breath and left the window. The door hissed open as he walked toward the entry hall, where Kalira waited quietly. She stood tall and thin, wearing her ceremonial veil, a soft, shimmering fabric that covered most of her face down to her shoulders. Her posture was calm, respectful, but Elias could sense her tension. Two human soldiers stood behind her, stiff and uncomfortable. When Kalira heard Elias approach, she turned slightly. Her voice was soft, warm, and a bit musical. "Commander Ward, should I follow you now?" Elias nodded gently. "Yes, and please call me Elias. You don't have to be formal on my ship." Kalira bowed her head. "As you wish, Elias." The soldiers exchanged nervous looks as Elias stepped next to her. He waved his hand. "You're dismissed. I'll escort her." The soldiers looked relieved and walked away quickly. Elias sighed inwardly. The last thing Kalira needed was to feel like a prisoner. She was already surrounded by humans who weren't ready to see her as an ally, let alone as the commander's wife. He gestured for her to walk beside him. "This way. I'll take you to our quarters." She followed him silently, her steps graceful and light. The ship's corridors were wide but busy. Crew members walked everywhere, carrying tools, tablets, and equipment. But the moment Kalira appeared beside Elias, everything stopped. People stared. Some whispered. Some frowned. A pair of engineers nearly dropped a crate when they saw her glowing blue eyes behind the veil. Elias felt his jaw tighten. "Don't mind them," he said quietly to Kalira. "They're not used to seeing a Threx yet." Kalira didn't stop walking, but she lowered her head. "I understand. Humans and Threx have feared each other for years. It will take time." Her calm acceptance made Elias feel strangely protective. As they walked deeper into the ship, more people gathered to stare. Rumors had already spread. The commander's alien wife is arriving. Many expected a monster. Many expected something terrifying. Elias knew the truth was simply that Kalira was different. Not frightening, just different. They reached a lift. As the doors closed, Kalira let out a slow breath. "Your people watch me with great worry." "You noticed?" Elias asked with a weak smile. "It is hard not to notice," she replied gently. "My people sense emotional energy. The air here tastes of caution." He blinked. "Tastes?" She nodded softly. "Yes. Threx senses are not the same as human senses. Emotions have color, flavor, weight." Elias couldn't help a quiet chuckle. "Well, right now, I guess the flavor is nervous. Sorry about that." Kalira tilted her head in curiosity. "Do you not fear me, Elias?" He met her glowing eyes through the veil. "I don't." Then, after a moment of honesty, "Okay, maybe I'm a little nervous, but not about you, about everything." Kalira seemed to think about his words. "Your honesty is appreciated." The lift stopped. They stepped into a quiet hallway far from the busy decks. Elias led her toward a door labeled Private Quarters 7A. He tapped the panel and the door opened. Inside was a clean, comfortable living space. 2 beds pushed together by request of the treaty, a large window showing stars, and soft lighting. Elias had decorated it with simple things: plants, small shelves, a desk, hoping it would look welcoming. Kalyra walked inside slowly, her steps gentle, almost cautious. She stopped near the window, staring at the endless stars. "This room is peaceful. I thought you'd like it," Elias replied. "You'll be staying here with me. Our living space is shared." Kalyra turned slightly. "I know your marriage traditions differ from ours. If this arrangement troubles you—" "It doesn't," Elias interrupted quickly. "It's just new." She nodded. "New for me as well." There was a quiet moment. Elias felt unsure what to say. After all, this was not a normal marriage. They were strangers forced into a political bond. He didn't want her to think he expected anything too personal or intimate. He took a step back. "If you need anything, just ask. I'll make sure you're comfortable." Kalyra's hand touched the edge of her veil. "Elias, may I ask something?" "Of course." "If I remove my veil, will your people be angry? I do not wish to offend your customs." He shook his head firmly. "You won't offend anyone. On this ship, you're free to be yourself." Kalyra hesitated, fingers lightly gripping the veil. "In my culture, removing the veil symbolizes trust, but I understand that humans fear the way we look." Elias felt a wave of guilt. "That's only because they don't know any better, and because of the war." She nodded softly. "My face has been called strange by humans before. During the treaty meetings, I heard the whispers." Elias stepped closer. "Kalyra, you don't owe anyone here a certain appearance. You are my guest, and my partner in this treaty. That's all that matters." Kalyra slowly lowered her hand. "If you say so, Elias, then I will believe you." Before she removed it, there was a soft chime at the door. Elias frowned. "Come in." The door opened and Lieutenant Harper entered holding a data tablet. She froze when she saw Kalyra. "Oh, I didn't realize you were together." "Commander, I have a report." Her eyes stayed locked on Kalyra, wide and uneasy. Elias took the tablet quickly. "Thank you, Lieutenant. You're dismissed." Harper swallowed, nodded awkwardly, and left. Kalyra watched the door close. "Your people are polite, but their fear is loud." "I'm sorry," Elias said again. "It'll take time, but I promise they'll warm up to you." Kalyra turned back to the stars. "I hope so. My people want peace. I want peace. That is why I agreed to this bond." Elias studied her profile, the gentle glow beneath her veil, the calm patience in her posture. She was nothing like the terrifying images shown during the war. She was simply someone trying to build a new future. He stood beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "We'll make this work, Kalyra. Even if the whole galaxy watches us with doubt, we'll make it work." Kalyra looked at him through the veil, and for the first time, her eyes softened with something warm and hopeful. "Yes," she whispered. "Together, we will." And as the stars drifted outside the window, the first quiet bond between them began to form, fragile but real, in the heart of a ship where everyone still wondered whether peace with an alien was truly possible. Commander Elias Ward stood quietly in the shared quarters, unsure what to do next. His new alien wife, Kalyra, explored the room slowly, touching the plants, looking at the shelves, and standing close to the window like she was studying every star. Her long veil shimmered gently with blue light each time she moved. Elias knew this night would be difficult. They were strangers. They were married because of politics, not love. and both of them carried heavy expectations from their people. Still, he wanted things to be peaceful. He cleared his throat. "Kalira, are you comfortable? Is the room okay?" Kalira turned to him, her glowing eyes soft behind the veil. "Yes, Elias. The room is calm. Much calmer than the treaty chambers." She paused. "And it smells less like nervous humans." He laughed before he could stop himself. "Yeah, diplomacy kind of smells like sweat and fear most of the time." Kalira tilted her head, thinking about his words. "Yes, fear has a strong scent." Elias blinked. "You really can smell emotions?" "Not as humans smell things," she explained. "It is more like energy. Emotional waves carry different sensations. Fear is sharp, anger is heavy, peace is cool, trust is warm." He leaned back against the desk. "And what do you sense right now?" Kalira looked at him for a long moment. "Uncertainty," she said softly, "but no hatred, no danger. Your energy is careful." Elias wasn't sure if that was good or embarrassing. He nodded. "I guess that's fair. I don't want to scare you, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I know this whole situation is strange for both of us." Kalira took a gentle breath. "In my culture, the first night after a bonding ceremony is important. It is not about physical closeness. It is about truth-sharing." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Truth-sharing?" She stepped closer, holding her hands together. "Yes, two souls speak honestly. No masks, no lies, and if trust grows, then the veil is removed." Elias hesitated. "You mean you'd show your face?" Kalira nodded. "Yes, but only if you believe I will not frighten you." Elias frowned. "I'm not afraid of you. Humans were shown many false images of my kind," she said quietly. "Some may still live in your mind." He shook his head. "Maybe they were in my mind before, but not anymore. And, honestly, you don't have to hide anything from me." Kalira looked at him as if searching for truth. "Then we will follow the tradition." She sat on the floor near the window, legs folded gracefully, and gestured for him to sit opposite her. Elias sat carefully, feeling unsure but trying to show respect. Kalira placed her hands on her knees. "Before the veil is removed, I must share the first truth. Something personal." Elias nodded. "I'm listening." Kalira's voice turned softer, almost trembling. "When I agreed to marry you, my people called me brave, but inside, I was afraid. Not of you, of failing. If this peace breaks, my name will be remembered as the one who caused two civilizations to fall into war again." Elias felt a heaviness in his chest. "That's unfair. You can't carry the blame for everything." "In my culture," she whispered, "a bondmate carries the weight of two futures." Elias leaned forward. "Then let me share my truth. I didn't want this marriage at first. Not because of you, but because I thought I'd be used as a tool." Kalira blinked softly behind the veil. "And now?" "Now." Elias hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Now I think I was wrong. You're smart, kind, more patient than anyone I've met. You're not a tool, and maybe I'm not one either." Kalira lowered her head slightly, as if she were smiling behind the veil. "I appreciate your words." They sat in silence for a moment, letting the soft hum of the ship fill the room. Finally, Kalira lifted her hands and touched the veil. "Then I will show you my face." Elias swallowed, not because he was afraid, but because the moment felt important. "You don't have to do it if you're not ready." "I am," she said. "Truth has been shared. Trust has been planted." Slowly, gently, she removed the veil. The fabric slid down her shoulders and fell into her lap. Elias stared, not in fear, but in surprise. Kalira's real face was nothing like the propaganda images humans had seen. Those images had shown twisted skin and sharp bones. But the truth was different. Her skin was smooth, with a soft glow like moonlight. Her features were elegant. Large, luminous eyes, slight cheek structure, and delicate lines of bioluminescent markings that shimmered like galaxy dust. Her hair, which had been hidden, flowed like thin silver threads glowing faintly. She looked beautiful, not in a human way, not in a familiar way, but in a way that felt natural, calm, and strangely mesmerizing. Kalira watched his reaction nervously. "If it troubles you, I can cover—" "No," Elias said immediately, his voice gentle. "Kalira, you look incredible." She blinked quickly. "Incredible? Yes, I mean it. You're not ugly, not even close. Humans were lied to." Kalira touched her cheek lightly, the markings glowing brighter. "My people's bioluminescence responds to emotion. It reveals comfort, safety." "So you're comfortable now?" Elias asked. "More than before," she admitted. "Your reaction is warm." Elias smiled. "I'm glad." She studied him deeply. "Your eyes do not hide fear." "That is unusual for a human seeing a Threx face for the first time." "Well," Elias said, rubbing the back of his neck, "maybe most humans never got the chance to see the real thing." Kalira's glow brightened again. "I would like to share another truth, Elias." "Go ahead." "When I stood beside you during the ceremony, I sensed something different from you than from the other humans. You felt open, curious, not hateful." She paused, "and that made me want to try my best." Elias felt warmth in his chest. "I'm glad, because I want this to work. Not just for politics, for us." Kalira gently lifted her veil and placed it on the bed. "Then this night has meaning." A soft knock came from the door. Sharp, urgent. Elias frowned. "Oh, great. Who now?" He stood and opened the door to see Lieutenant Harper again, her expression tense. "Commander," she whispered quickly, "we might have a problem." Elias stepped out slightly. "What kind of problem?" Harper lowered her voice. "A small group from Deck 9 is spreading rumors that Kalira is dangerous. They're saying she shouldn't be here." Elias felt irritation rise. "That's nonsense. She hasn't done anything." "I know, sir," Harper said, "but people are scared. Some crew members think the peace agreement is a trap." He clenched his jaw. "Keep an eye on them. I'll speak to the crew tomorrow." "Yes, sir." Elias closed the door and exhaled deeply. Kalira was watching him, concern in her glowing eyes. "Is something wrong?" "Just some crew members being difficult," he said. "They'll calm down." Kalira touched her markings softly. "I sensed a shift in the ship's energy earlier. A tremor of distrust." "Don't worry," Elias said with a small smile. "They'll get to know you. Then they'll see what I see." Kalira blinked, surprised by his words. "And what do you see, Elias?" He met her eyes. "Someone brave, someone honest, someone who wants peace so badly she's willing to be misunderstood, someone beautiful in her own way." Kalira's markings glowed softly, warm and bright like sunrise. "You speak with sincerity. That is rare." Elias sat beside her again. "So, does this mean the truth-sharing night is going well?" Kalira nodded gently. "Yes. Better than I believed it could." They sat quietly for a while, watching the stars through the window. The weight of the day faded, replaced by something fragile, but real, trust, growing slowly between them. And for the first time since the ceremony, Kalira felt hope. Perhaps this bond wouldn't just preserve peace. Perhaps it could become something meaningful. The next morning on the Resolute Dawn felt strangely quiet. Commander Elias Ward woke early, expecting to feel awkward after sharing such a personal night with Kalira. But instead, he felt lighter. Her face, her real face, kept returning to his thoughts. Not because she was strange or alien, but because she was peaceful, honest, something rare on a warship full of guarded hearts. Kalira was already awake, standing near the window, her bioluminescent markings glowing softly in the dim light. "Good morning," Elias said gently. She turned with a small nod. "Morning, Elias. The ship hums with busy energy today." He grabbed his jacket. "Yeah, I have to talk to the crew. Calm their nerves." "I understand," she replied. "Humans fear what they do not know." Elias smiled weakly. "I'll tell them you're not a threat." Kalira tilted her head. "Threats hide in shadows, Elias, and last night, I felt shadows." He paused. "What do you mean?" Kalira touched her markings. "During our truth-sharing night, I sensed another emotional shift somewhere on the ship. Heavy, angry, like broken metal." Elias frowned. "Broken metal?" "It is how Threx sense sabotage," she explained. "Energy feels wrong, like something is out of place." Elias stared at her for a moment, unsure if this was instinct or something more. "Okay, I'll keep an eye out." He didn't want to worry her, so he kept his tone light. But her words stayed in his head. As Elias walked through the main corridors, he noticed the tension right away. Crew members whispered, moving aside when he passed. Some avoided eye contact. Lieutenant Harper waited for him near the briefing room. "Sir, the rumors are spreading faster," she said, handing him a tablet. "Some crew think Kalira is here to spy on us." Elias clenched his jaw. "She's done nothing wrong." "I know," Harper said softly. "But people are scared, Commander. They think the treaty is a trick." Elias walked into the briefing room. Officers stood at attention. Some looked calm, others cautious, and a few stared at him like he had betrayed them by marrying a Threx. He addressed them plainly. "Listen up. Kalira is not a danger. She saved lives during the treaty event, and she wants peace. Anyone spreading lies or hate will answer to me directly. Understood?" The officers nodded, though some reluctantly. Elias continued. "I expect professionalism. We're building peace. Don't ruin it with fear." Harper stepped forward. "There's also something else, sir. A series of power fluctuations last night in Deck 9. Minor but unusual." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Related to the rumors?" "We're not sure." Elias felt a chill. Kalira's warning echoed in his mind. Broken metal. Sabotage. "Send a tech team to investigate," he ordered, "and lock access logs." "Yes, sir." Back in the private quarters, Kalira explored the plants on the small shelf, touching each leaf gently. Then she paused, her eyes narrowing. The energy felt strange again. Something subtle, something wrong. She walked to the door and stepped into the hallway, her markings glowing brighter as she focused. A faint vibration thrummed under her feet, small, almost invisible to humans, but clear to her. Danger. She moved quickly down the corridor, following the strange energy trail. Crew members stared as she passed, but she didn't notice. Her steps led her toward the lower engineering decks, places she hadn't been allowed to visit yet. But the sense of danger pushed her forward. As she rounded a corner, 2 crew members appeared suddenly, blocking her path. "Hey! Alien, stop!" one barked. Kalira stopped calmly. "I sense danger nearby. Please step aside." The second crewman scoffed. "Danger? What, you're reading our minds now?" "I read energy," she explained patiently. "Something is wrong on this ship." They laughed. But then the floor under them gave a faint, unnatural vibration. The laughing stopped. Kalira gently pointed forward. "That direction." The 2 humans exchanged a glance filled with uncertainty. Before they could respond, a voice echoed from behind them. "Kalira?" It was Elias, running toward her with Harper and a few guards following. Elias frowned. What are you doing down here? Kalyra bowed her head slightly. I sensed the broken energy again. It pulled me here. Harper checked her tablet. Commander, Deck 9. That's where the power fluctuations happened. Elias nodded slowly. All right, let's check it out. He gestured for Kalyra to follow, and the group moved deeper into the engineering levels. They arrived at a maintenance room. The door was slightly open. Harper's eye widened. Sir, no one should be in here. Elias signaled the guards. Carefully, they pushed the door open. Inside, the lights were dim. The air felt hotter. Machines hummed with an uneasy rhythm. And on the far side of the room, a figure crouched beside a power conduit, tools scattered around him. Elias stepped forward. Hands up, slowly. The figure froze. Then he turned, and Elias recognized him instantly. A technician named Rowan. Quiet, skilled. Always looked nervous during treaty meetings. Rowan glared at Elias with shaking anger. You brought her on board, a monster. You're destroying humanity's future. Kalyra stepped forward calmly, but Elias motioned her to stay back. Elias kept his voice steady. Rowan, put down the tool. Talk to me. Rowan shook his head violently. You don't get it. The Threx killed my brother, and now you marry one of them? You think peace is real? The only peace is when they're gone. Elias saw the open conduit behind Rowan, exposed, dangerous, unstable. Rowan, Elias said slowly, what did you do? Rowan lifted a small device. Just a little overload, enough to cripple the ship. Enough to make the Council see the truth, that they can't trust aliens. Elias's heart pounded. If that thing blows, it'll kill everyone in this section, including you. I don't care, Rowan snapped. Kalyra stepped forward despite Elias's warning. I care. Rowan spun toward her, hatred in his eyes. Stay back. Kalyra's voice was gentle but firm. I lost people too, Rowan. The war hurt all of us, but breaking peace will not bring them back. Don't pretend you understand me, Rowan shouted. Kalyra shook her head. I understand pain, but I also understand what your brother would want. Rowan faltered. What? No one who dies in war wants the living to start another, she said softly. Your brother would want you to live, not to destroy yourself. Her words made Rowan hesitate. His grip on the device loosened. But then the power conduit behind him sparked violently. Elias shouted, Move! Rowan stumbled away, dropping the device, but the damage was done. The conduit's energy surged, glowing bright and unstable. The room shook. Harper backed up. Commander, it's going to overload! Elias grabbed Rowan, pulling him toward the exit. Go, everyone out! But Kalyra didn't move. She ran toward the conduit. Kalyra! Elias yelled. She placed her hands on the glowing metal. Her markings flared so bright they lit the entire room. Her voice trembled. Threx energy skin absorbs overload, but I must concentrate. Harper whispered in shock. She's going to absorb it? That's impossible. Kalyra's whole body glowed brighter. The energy from the conduit surged into her, lighting her veins like rivers of white fire. Elias ran toward her. Kalyra, stop! You'll get hurt! She shook her head, breathing heavily. No, I can contain it. But you must leave, Elias. I'm not leaving you. You must, she insisted, her voice cracking. If I fail, this room will explode. Elias grabbed her shoulders. Kalyra, look at me. She opened her glowing eyes. I'm not leaving, he said firmly. We do this together. Her eyes softened. Then she guided his hands to the conduit. Place your hands here. Do not let go. He did. A shock ran through him, but the energy flow steadied. Kalyra channeled the rest away from him, protecting him with her own body. Together they focused. Slowly. Slowly. The overload calmed. The glow faded. The conduit cooled. Kalyra collapsed forward, and Elias caught her. Kalyra, he whispered, panic in his voice. She opened her eyes weakly. "You stayed." "Of course I stayed." Her markings glimmered faintly. "Then the bond is strong." Elias held her close, worry and relief mixing in his chest. Outside, the guards helped Rowan away in silence. Harper looked at Elias and Kalyra with wide, stunned eyes. The truth was clear now. Kalyra wasn't here to harm them. She had saved the entire ship. Elias held her carefully as she recovered her strength, and a single thought filled his mind. No one on this ship would ever see her the same way again. A soft, peaceful hum filled the medical bay of the Resolute Dawn. Machines blinked with gentle lights, and the air felt strangely calm after the chaos of the sabotage. Commander Elias Ward sat beside Kalyra's bed, watching her rest. Her bioluminescent markings glowed faintly, no longer burning bright and dangerous like earlier. She had saved the ship. She had saved everyone, but what worried Elias was the way she now breathed, slow, weak, tired. The energy overload had drained her deeply. He leaned closer. "Kalyra, I'm here. Wake up when you can." A quiet voice came from the doorway. "She's stable." Lieutenant Harper stepped inside, her expression softer than usual. "She absorbed more energy than we thought possible. Honestly, sir, if she hadn't, we wouldn't be alive." Elias nodded, his gaze still locked on Kalyra. "I know." Harper hesitated before speaking again. "I also need to tell you something. The Council has been informed. The entire fleet knows Kalyra prevented a reactor explosion." "So the rumors will stop?" Elias asked. Harper sighed. "I doubt they'll stop completely, but many people changed their minds today. They're calling her a hero." Elias glanced back at Kalyra. "She deserves more than whispers. She deserves respect." Harper's eyes softened. "Yes, Commander, and she'll get it." She left quietly, leaving Elias alone with Kalyra. He took her hand gently. For a moment he allowed himself to feel the full weight of what they had gone through. The fear, the danger, the way Kalyra had stepped forward without hesitation, risking her life for humanity. She wasn't his enemy. She wasn't a political prisoner. She wasn't a burden. She was someone brave, someone important, someone he didn't want to lose. It was almost an hour later when Kalyra's eyes fluttered open. The soft blue glow returned to her markings, and she looked around weakly. "Elias?" He leaned close, relief washing over him. "I'm here. You're safe." She blinked slowly. "Did the ship survive?" "Yes," Elias said with a smile. "Because of you." Kalyra exhaled lightly. "I am glad. I did not know if my body could handle the overload. But your help steadied me." Elias shook his head. "Kalyra, you shouldn't have done it alone." She looked at him gently. "I was not alone. You stayed." Their eyes held for a moment, warm and quiet. Then she slowly pushed herself up on the bed. "What happened to the saboteur?" "Rowan is in custody," Elias replied. "He'll face a fair trial. No one was harmed." Kalyra lowered her head slightly. "I do not wish for his suffering." "I know," Elias said. "You saved him too, you know." Kalyra touched her chest, as if checking her heartbeat. "Threx culture teaches that protecting life is the highest honor, even if the life belongs to someone who hates us." Elias smiled softly. "You really are something special." She tilted her head. "Special. Good or special? Strange?" "Good," Elias said firmly. "Very good." Her markings glowed faintly with warmth. Later that day, the Council leadership connected through a holographic screen in the command center. Admirals, diplomats, and senior officers appeared in tall, shimmering projections. Elias stood straight, Kalyra beside him. She had insisted on walking even though she still looked a bit tired. She wore her veil again, but this time not out of fear. She simply felt it was respectful for a formal meeting. Admiral Rivas, a stern, older man, spoke first. "Commander Ward, we received the full report. The sabotage could have destroyed the Resolute Dawn." "Yes, sir," Elias replied. "But Kellyra prevented it." Kellyra bowed her head respectfully. "I acted as any ambassador would." The Admiral's hard expression softened. "You acted bravely. Many owe you their lives." Kellyra blinked slowly. "I only wish for peace." A diplomat stepped forward in the hologram. "It seems we misjudged your species. You are welcome among us, Kellyra of the Threx Dominion." Elias felt a small surge of pride at hearing those words. Admiral Rivas continued. "Commander, the Council wants both you and Kellyra to attend a ceremony on Threx Prime. Your presence will officially seal the new alliance." Elias raised an eyebrow. "A ceremony?" Kellyra nodded quietly. "Yes. A bondmate ceremony and an alliance ceremony are often held together in my culture." Elias glanced at her. "Is that important to your people?" Kellyra hesitated before answering. "Yes, it shows unity and trust, and that our futures are connected." Elias gave a gentle smile. "Then we'll be there." The Council nodded. "Prepare the Resolute Dawn to travel to Threx Prime," Admiral Rivas ordered. "Let this new era begin." The holograms faded, leaving silence behind. Kellyra turned to Elias. "Thank you." "For what?" "For standing beside me," she said. "For believing in me. Many humans would not." Elias shrugged lightly. "Then they're missing out." Kellyra's markings brightened again, the soft, warm glow he had come to associate with trust. The next few days changed everything. Crew members who once avoided Kellyra now greeted her politely. Some even thanked her personally. She accepted every word with grace. Though she never bragged or reminded anyone of their earlier fear, she moved calmly through the ship, learning human customs, studying the star maps, observing engineering repairs. Elias often found her sitting with young technicians, listening to them explain how engines worked, or watching trainees practice drills. But the most surprising part was that people finally started asking her questions, not out of fear, but curiosity. "Do Threx have families like humans?" "What do your stars look like?" "Do your markings hurt when they glow?" "Do you dream?" Kellyra answered every question with patience and kindness. The ship felt different now, lighter, more united. And every evening, Elias and Kellyra shared quiet moments in their quarters, talking, laughing softly, learning about each other's cultures. Their bond grew naturally, without force or pressure. Sometimes Kellyra removed her veil. Sometimes Elias held her hand as she studied the stars. Sometimes they simply sat in silence, comfortable in each other's presence. The awkwardness of the first night was gone. Something real was forming between them. Finally, the day arrived. Threx Prime appeared on the main screen, a glowing world of blues and silvers, surrounded by shimmering orbital stations. The ship comms buzzed with excitement. Kellyra stood beside Elias on the command deck, her markings glowing brighter than he had ever seen. Elias whispered, "Are you nervous?" She gave a soft laugh. "A little. My people have never welcomed a human before, and now I return with a human bondmate. Do you think they'll like me?" Kellyra looked at him warmly. "They will see what I see." "And what's that?" She touched his arm gently. "A man who chooses peace, a man who stood with me in danger, a man who stayed." Elias felt a warmth rise in his chest. The ship descended slowly, the light of Threx Prime shining across Kellyra's face. She removed her veil one more time, this time by choice, not by tradition. "Elias," she whispered, "whatever happens next, I am glad it is with you." He took her hand. "Me too." The doors opened. Bright light filled the corridor. Hundreds of Threx citizens waited outside with glowing lanterns, welcoming them. Kalira squeezed Elias's hand once. Together, human and Threx, they stepped forward, two worlds united by courage, trust, and the beginning of something deeper than either of them expected. The alliance was sealed, and their story had only just begun.